Hello. No, that was terrible. Okay, in 1993, a stockbroker hired a man named Trent. He was 23 years old and not very good at stockbroking, as he had never done it before. He became very successful. How? Habit tracking. All that he did was he took 2 jars, put them on his desk, and said, by the end of the day, I'm going to move every single paperclip into the other jar. Each paperclip represented a sales call that he would make. So it didn't really matter whether they were successful or they failed or it was his grandma. He had to make 120 calls before the end of the day, every single day. So each call, blink, plunk, super exciting. Within 6 months, he was doing pretty good. But what I meant to say, within 18 months, he had made that brokerage $5 million. As a result, obviously, Trent was propelled into a 6-figure income pretty rapidly as a 23-year-old. So, what does that mean? Like, that just goes to show that habit tracking is freaking awesome. Am I right? Let's talk about the next thing. So obviously Trent was somehow able to make habit tracking useful and exciting and interesting. But how? It's habit tracking. That sounds so boring. He did it. So how do you do that? Well, you gotta reward yourself by making it visual. You gotta be able to circle a place on the calendar. You gotta be able to move a marble into a bowl. You got to be able to, look at a spreadsheet, just see all the success. You got to be able to see the transition. You got to be able to see the habit being built and formed and what it's producing for you. It's got to be something that is even worth tracking. Like, if you're just going to track some random bullcrap, then who cares? Nobody cares. You definitely don't care, and you think you're going to keep tracking that habit? Not a chance. So it's got to be interesting. It's got to be meaningful. It's got to be, you gotta have some reason for doing it, or else there's just no point in doing it. Some people right now are students. Some people are office workers, construction workers. But who do you want to be? One thing you got to think about is, an example is some comedians. Jerry Seinfeld, for example. He had his own little habit tracker where every single day he would have to write a certain amount of jokes just to make sure the constant flow is going. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter quality as much as quantity. Because eventually, if you tell 500 jokes, at least one of them is going to be good. And that's one more good joke than the guy who's spending 3 hours a day trying to figure out which joke is good but doesn't try any of them out. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about, what do you want to be when you grow up? I say that ironically because I'm an adult, and you might be too. But what you need to think about is, okay, am I trying to lose weight? Do I want to be an athletic person? Am I trying to get a better job and be someone who contributes more to society, and therefore society contributes more to me? Am I trying to be a better mother? So am I going to ask my kid, how was your day at school? Just stuff like that. There's all sorts of things you could track that are important to the identity you're trying to assume. Perhaps you're even trying to quit smoking. Smoking is not a very good thing to do, and everyone knows it. So perhaps it's important enough to you to assume an identity that is no longer going to be destroying their health for a head rush that may or may not have died 15 years ago. Okay, so your darkest moment has arrived. You failed your streak. You get a big blot, a big space on your habit tracker. It's really sad. But are you a failure? Did you screw it up? Is it even worth continuing if you can't even hold it for 2 whole weeks? No. There's a really good saying. If you fail once, it was an accident. But if you fail twice, it's a habit. Our whole goal with habit trackers is to build our habits that we want to have and get rid of the ones that we don't. So don't turn failing your habits into a habit. Easier said than done. But you gotta understand, just because you ate that cheeseburger, just because you relapsed and had a cigarette, doesn't mean you need to throw it all out the window. You gotta hold in there. Keep it close. This video is probably not gonna be great. Maybe I'll get some dislikes, but you know what? Just keep on going. Because what identity do you want? Do you want to be the person that gives up, or do you want to be the person that holds on to that habit tracker and just keeps going to the very end? Only you can decide that. If you want to learn more about habit tracking and building habits to become the person you want to be and identify with what you want to identify with, just read James Clear's book. It's called Atomic Habits. It's really, really, really good. You should read it. It really brings to mind this one quote that I heard that's supposed to be from Aristotle, but actually isn't. Apparently, that's misinformation. But it is, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is a habit, not a feat. So, become excellent. Be excellent to one another. And thank you for watching. If there's anything I can improve on, which I'm sure there's a lot, please don't be afraid to tell me, because I want to actually get good at this one day. So, thank you. Bye-bye.